Classic Hollywood dripped with glamour, sparkling gowns, champagne parties, diamond-studded movie premieres. From the outside, it was a perfect dream. But peel back that glittering curtain, and you'd find something else entirely. Steamy affairs, secret rendezvous, tangled love webs that would make even today's tabloids blush. Because behind every dazzling smile was often a story of forbidden passions and reckless choices. These weren't just actresses, they were daring, complicated women who defied the rules of their time, sometimes to heartbreaking ends. Today, we're diving into the untamed love lives of old Hollywood's most captivating divas, the ones who seduced more than the silver screen. Jane Mansfield, the queen of reckless romance. Before Marilyn Monroe was crowned Hollywood's ultimate blonde fantasy, there was Jane Mansfield. Jane was like a living cartoon of desire. Platinum hair piled high, hourglass figure, so exaggerated it almost seemed unreal. She wasn't just an actress either. Jane was a singer, a nightclub showstopper, even a Playboy playmate. Everywhere she went, men lost their minds. By the 1950s, Mansfield was a headline magnet. Her face was on billboards, her body in magazine spreads, her name whispered in men's clubs. But what really had people talking was how publicly she flaunted her love life. She married 3 times, each relationship splashed across front pages with juicy details. Her first marriage to Paul Mansfield fizzled out, followed by a turbulent union with Mickey Hargitay, a Hungarian bodybuilder. But while Jane tried her hand at being a devoted wife, she also craved adventure. Between the early 50s and late 60s, Jane was allegedly involved with over 25 different men, a number that might even be conservative if you believe old studio gossip. Her rumored lovers included everything from Broadway producers to heavyweight boxers. Names like Samuel Brody, Jan Kremer, George Jessel, Steve Cochran, Art Aragon, and even Robert F. Kennedy were tied to her in scandal sheets. And she didn't care. Jane embraced her image as a love-hungry bombshell, once saying, "A girl has to keep her figure, but a girl also has to have love." Her notorious pool parties became legend, whispered to include skinny dipping under the stars, highball glasses never empty, and more than a few guests slipping off into dark corners. Was it exaggerated? Maybe. But in Jane's Hollywood, the line between rumor and truth was always deliciously blurred. Jane lived her private life out loud. She made mistakes, laughed them off, and moved right on to the next thrill. Even decades later, she's remembered not just for her movies, but for being one of Tinseltown's most daring hearts. Vivien Leigh beauty, betrayal, and a fragile mind. Vivien Leigh was the kind of beautiful that seemed almost tragic, like it was too intense for her own good. You'd look at her delicate features and haunting eyes and almost brace yourself for heartbreak. Best known for Gone with the Wind, Leigh wasn't just another pretty face. She was a powerhouse actress who won Oscars, dominated Shakespearean stages, and left audiences breathless. But while her career soared, her personal life was pure chaos. It all started when she met Laurence Olivier in 1936. Vivien was married, so was Olivier. Didn't matter. They fell wildly, recklessly in love after he came backstage to congratulate her on a play. Their affair was an open secret, 2 magnetic talents who couldn't keep their hands or hearts off each other, even if it meant destroying their marriages. Eventually they did marry, hoping that sealing the deal would calm their storm. It didn't. Vivien battled what doctors later recognized as bipolar disorder. Her highs were euphoric, her lows devastating. Rumors spread like wildfire that Vivien couldn't stay faithful. Reports linked her to up to 18 other men, including Warren Beatty, John Merivale, Peter Finch, John Buckmaster, director Elia Kazan, Richard Burton, and even actress Ona Munson. Affairs weren't just scandalous, they were also desperate attempts by Vivien to claw out of her emotional darkness. Meanwhile, Olivier himself was hardly a saint. Their marriage devolved into screaming fights and public humiliations, until even the press felt awkward reporting on it. Eventually, they divorced, and Vivien's health deteriorated further. By the end, she was battling tuberculosis along with her mental illness, living in a fragile world of memories. Yet fans still adored her, the fragile butterfly who flitted from lover to lover. desperately chasing comfort. Diana doors, parties, and secret tapes. Diana doors might be one of Britain's best-kept scandals. Touted as the UK's answer to Marilyn Monroe, Diana had the curves, the pout, and a shamelessly flirtatious attitude that made her irresistible to men and a frequent target of jealous wives. She loved being outrageous. As early as her teens, Diana was nicknamed the English Marilyn by the press. But instead of shying away, she leaned into the persona, hosting parties that became legendary and later deeply controversial. Her marriages, 3 in total, were messy enough. Her first husband, Dennis Hamilton, was controlling and obsessed with using Diana's sex appeal to advance their fortunes. They threw decadent house parties where powerful men gathered. Drinks flowed endlessly, and people sometimes ended up in bedrooms with partners they hadn't arrived with. Secret tapes? Yep. Dennis reportedly installed hidden cameras to film guests' insurance, he claimed, against rich or famous visitors trying to double-cross them. After Dennis died, Diana confessed it all in memoirs, shocking even jaded British tabloids. Outside of her marriages, Diana was linked to over a dozen men, from artist Desmond Morris to singer Anthony Newley, comedian Bob Monkhouse, and even Hollywood's Rod Steiger. And that's only the documented affairs. When critics called her reckless, Diana just laughed. She once quipped, "I said I'd sleep with anyone to get on. I just didn't expect so many to call my bluff." Behind the jokes, though, was a woman trying to survive a business that only valued her for how many heads she turned. Clara Bow, the it girl who got too much attention. Long before there was a Marilyn or a Mansfield, there was Clara Bow, Hollywood's original sex symbol. In the 1920s, Clara starred in a film literally called It, which launched her as America's first it girl. Men wrote her love letters by the thousands. In 1929 alone, Clara reportedly received over 45,000 fan letters every single month. But along with fame came relentless scrutiny. Clara loved to dance, party, and Scandal Alert didn't hide that she enjoyed the company of men. The tabloids of the time roasted her reputation. Whispers swirled of affairs with over 18 men, including young John Wayne, Ben Lyon, Richard Arlen, director Victor Fleming, even fellow co-stars John Gilbert and Harry Richmond. Some called her a nymphomaniac, a label that sounds ridiculously sexist by today's standards but was tossed around freely back then. Clara married cowboy star Rex Bell and tried settling into domestic bliss, but the rumors never stopped. In fact, when her career began to slip as talkies arrived, Scandal magazines had a field day inventing even more salacious tales. By her late 30s, Clara had retreated from Hollywood, weary and broken by endless gossip. It's painfully ironic. The same magnetic energy that made her a star also made her an irresistible target for scandal. Elizabeth Taylor, the queen of marriage and heartbreak. If you think modern tabloids are obsessed with celebrity love lives, they've got nothing on Elizabeth Taylor. Liz was a star from childhood, blossoming into one of the highest-paid actresses ever by the 1960s. Her violet eyes and luscious hair made hearts everywhere melt. But off-screen, her tangled romances outdid even the juiciest soap opera. Taylor was married 8 times to 7 men, famously saying, "I don't know whether I'm meant for marriage, but I do know I'm a very committed wife." Her husbands included hotelier Nicky Hilton, British actor Michael Wilding, producer Mike Todd, who tragically died in a plane crash, singer Eddie Fisher, yanked from Debbie Reynolds in a scandal that rocked America, and of course Richard Burton twice. Between and beyond her marriages, Elizabeth was rumored to have affairs with dozens of high-profile men. George Hamilton, Richard Long, Mickey Rooney, Victor Luna, Jason Winters. The list is nearly as star-studded as her movie credits. Some insiders claimed Elizabeth got romantically involved with over 30 men throughout her life, often moving from one lover to the next with dazzling speed. Still, no matter how dramatic her love life got, she remained one of Hollywood's most respected actresses, winning 2 Oscars and countless lifetime honors. Her boldness in love and in art left a legacy that even her messiest affairs couldn't tarnish. Other scandalous legends lightning round. Of course, these aren't the only screen queens who tangled themselves in jaw-dropping love stories. Hollywood's golden age was crawling with forbidden liaisons and secret affairs. Mae West, the sultry queen of double entendres, bragged about seducing hundreds of men and didn't care who knew. Tallulah Bankhead, famously outrageous and openly bisexual, once laughed, "My father warned me about men and booze, but never women and cocaine." She was linked to so many affairs that even the gossip columnists lost count. And then there's Marilyn Monroe, whose bedroom was allegedly a revolving door for JFK, RFK, and a list of powerful studio heads who might have helped or ruined her career depending on how she played the game. The real story. Some of it's undoubtedly exaggerated, twisted by studios, desperate to keep their stars in headlines, even if it meant inventing torrid affairs. But in many cases, the truth was wilder than any rumor. Conclusion. The price of being a woman in Hollywood. So, what do we make of all this? Were these women reckless? Unfaithful? Or were they simply living by their own rules in a world that wanted to cage them? It's easy to judge from our side of history, but remember, back then, actresses were practically owned by studios. Their lives were controlled, their images managed down to the last eyelash. Sleeping with a powerful man could mean the difference between landing a starring role or disappearing forever. But for many of these stars, love wasn't just a career strategy. It was messy, desperate, real. They fell hard, crashed harder, and sometimes never quite recovered. Their passion burned bright, sometimes too bright, and in the process, they left behind stories so tangled and jaw-dropping that we're still fascinated by them nearly a century later.